I can eat and then go work out, or I can eat and
Really?
then have big time sex.
You are truly Fabio.
Club Random.
The first time I came to the United States, I was 13 years old. As soon as I got off the plane, I go like, oh my God, I feel home.
Club Random.
Fabio?
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
Oh,
Good to see you, my
you
friend.
look like you're really Fabio. I heard
How you
there's.
doing?
I thought maybe there was an AI version of you.
No,
that
well,
was-
actually,
that was-
they're already trying to do AI, Fabio, and I'm like, oh my
Are
God.
you
this is-
serious?
I swear. I swear. And you know what's crazy? They did like
No, that's not like a hologram. Or is it
like
similar?
AI.
AI, like.
And it
yeah.
speaks different languages, and it's so. And I tell you, what's crazy? They did it like in 10 minutes, okay? And I couldn't believe how real it was. I mean, this stuff is.
Well,
scary.
where would I see this? Where do they? Like on the internet?
I'll get you a link.
Well, let's not go that far. I'm not saying I want to see it. No, I don't. I mean, that to me is scary,
It is scary.
and I'm sure they'll do it to me. I mean, it's certainly going to be an issue in this presidential campaign.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, it's going to be a point. You know, that's why Elon Musk and all the people they're saying, "Hey, this thing is scary. This thing, you know, AI can get to a point where it can outsmart the people
Well, that's
and can take. Well, you
Of
know,
course, that's the fear.
right?
That's the main
But
thing.
it will happen. You know, there's no doubt. It will happen.
You know, my friend just gave me this movie called Colossus. You can't see it online. You have to buy the actual movie. It's from 1971. Eric Braeden, you know Eric Braeden?
Mm-mm.
Longtime soap opera actor. He was on the show for like 40 years. German guy. You must have seen Eric. He was in the Rat Patrol.
Okay.
He's
okay.
German with a slight accent, but he's the star when he was a leading man. And it's like amazingly prescient because it means 1971. So the computer's as big as this room.
Right,
You know,
right.
Beeping lights. But the guy invents AI. And it does exactly, they're talking about exactly what we're talking about now. He assures the president of the United States, who they cast somebody who looks just like John F. Kennedy, because it was only 8 years after his assassination. So, you know, Mr. President, the machine will never be able to outspeak. And then Russia comes up with one, just the same thing. And then the two computers get together, and then they blackmail the whole world. And they do exactly what we fear AI will do right away, take over, and be the boss of us.
Yeah.
And it's
crazy. I don't know if you know, but just not too long ago, the Pentagon, they announced that actually the drone, it's controlled by AI. AI will make the decision to kill or not to kill.
right.
Okay, but if you look back in 2008, where Obama was a president, there was a major big mistake. One of our drone killed a bunch of people. I think it was in Iraq. And and then came out, then it was already controlled by AI. So AI made that decision already in 2008, and the Pentagon just admitted now they're just doing it now. There's like
or they would just love to blame it on AI because trust me, we've broken up more than a few weddings. in Afghanistan. I mean, you know, it was not just one time this happened. Now, look, I've always been of the opinion that Americans are very naive about the threats in the world. There are really bad people in the world.
Yes.
And sometimes you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. I'm sorry that people at weddings got killed. It's not right. But 9/11 wasn't right either. And the idea that, you know, there are not people plotting against us and that we have to do something. Iraq was wrong to like invade a whole country with an army. That wasn't the right way to do it. But you got to do something. Drones targeting terrorists is like the least awful option sometimes.
And also Iraq was the cushion with Iran. Because if you remember...
Correct, of course.
If you remember, you know, my father used to be a top engineer, and we used to have, you know, Iraqi, and I remember growing up, being 13, 14 years old.
Now, you grew up in Italy?
Yes, Milan.
Where? Milan?
Milan.
Is that really Italy?
Well, put it this way, it's not Sicily, okay?
Well, I mean, I know enough about Italy to know that if Americans think the North and the South of America are very different, which they do, and they are.
Yes, but
Try Italy,
oh my
because
God,
Milan is nothing, and they don't really want to be part of the same country.
it's true. It's true.
It's true.
But you go like 30 miles away from Milan, and they speak a totally different dialect. Talking about dialect, it's like you get 30 miles each way,
Yeah.
east, west, north, south of Milan, and
Right.
it's a totally different dialect.
And the people are lighter, blonder.
Yeah, we have a lot of,
The men have very long hair.
not all.
Look
but
at you. You still got the fucking,
well,
that's
you
all
know.
your hair? Those aren't extensions?
No.
Can a man wear extensions?
It's
I mean, without
me,
being...
it's like, come on, we're still men. I mean, probably we're still the last of the Mohican, our generation.
Well, we are, I think, like two of the very few men our age, 40, who have never been married
Right.
and no kids, right?
Yes.
And this is because we're homosexual. No. No, this is because, well, I always say to people when they ask about this, if you're our age
Right.
and you've never gotten married, it's either for one or two reasons. You don't like women or you like them a lot.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's like, listen, and we're smart and we're picky. So we're not gonna, and when you're a successful man, especially living in Los Angeles, you have to be careful.
No, there's, trust me, I know, and sometimes women are sincere, but I mean, I have a pretty sharp eye now for, like, especially like you say, we're older now. I know when a woman wants to be like a Beverly Hills wife and have the Beverly Hills wife life. Maybe it's because they see it on, isn't there a show? Of course there is. I've never seen any of those housewives show because I feel like I might get sucked into it. But
oh my God!
But like, and they didn't need a show to tell them how
they're
to.
Pathetic.
What?
Those shows. Those shows.
You've seen them. You watch them.
No.
Oh.
But I saw clips and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe people they watching this garbage. I mean, come on.
See, if we had been led our lives differently, gotten married, our wives would now be on that show.
Run your show, right?
Our wives would be throwing drinks in each other's faces.
Yeah.
And look what we avoided.
I know. It's great. It's like I love, cars, motorcycles, and it's like, and always women go like, well, Fabio, why you have to have all these cars? Why to have, because I go like, I like variety. Maybe give you a hint.
Right. Well, I could give a shit about variety in cars. I have one car. I mean, I'm not a car guy, but I see your point, and so you like variety so much it even extends to the automobile.
It's it's like, listen, in life is too short. You never know, right? So I believe, it's like you have to have the best in your life. It's like I understand you work.
Right.
And then you have fun. In life, you have to have balance, okay? So a lot of people, they work too much and they don't live life.
Right.
I like to live life.
Well,
work.
You look like you're still living it the same. You got the hair, you got the plunging neckline. I mean, you look good.
Thanks,
sure.
You too.
Sure.
I mean, you look great.
And those books, so interesting the way, society kind of frowns on what those books are really selling. Like, it's toxic. Like, if you really do the shit that the guy in the book is doing.
I'm telling you, it's America. America, they're very good to market and in marketing and to sell fantasy. Think about Hollywood. It's based on a fantasy, right?
Yes.
So the same, those books give people fantasy. Fantasy, it's healthy. It's an escape.
But the fantasy. That's where the hypocrisy comes in. The fantasy that the women have in the books is sort of frowned upon in other quarters of life and media because it's a little like, I want to be taken, right?
Yeah.
But the guy, didn't they call them Bodus rippers? Because he's literally ripping off the whatever the Bodus is. I don't remember ever being with a girl who had a Bodus, whatever it is. But the fact that it was being ripped off that's a little, that's not in the Me Too catalog there. You're not supposed to rip things off. But women do want something in men that they sometimes, I think, to their own detriment these days, root out of them because it's so all about we can't have any toxic masculinity, and we certainly are toxic and have done a lot of bad things. But you know, they still want to feel like they're getting fucked by a man,
Yeah.
and not a wimp or a boy, or you know, I mean, this political correctness is just not sexy.
No, you're right.
It's not sexy, and
You're right.
and nobody ever came after you for being like part of this evil.
No, no. You know, it's like, you know, always treat women with respect and a gentleman. You know, and then takes two to tango. You know, so it's sometimes, you know, men and women that do stupid things, and then they're gonna bite him in the ass in the long run. But you know, it's like, you know, when you know, all this stuff with the Me Too movement came out, it was such a Hollywood thing. You know, it's like, where was the Me Too movement with all the women being raped done in October 7 in Israel? You know, the movement.
Of course.
It's so, you know, nobody, no, you know, celebrity, none of the Me Too movement say a word about what happened.
No, and a lot of the dumbass, useful idiots defended it.
Yeah.
Didn't spend one day
Yes.
in sympathy for the victims, went right to Hamas.
It's
Way to
unbelievable.
go, boys.
It's unbelievable, you know. And I tell you, all this, you know, to me, cancel culture, the stupidest thing, because you know, you have, you know, people. I mean, you have civilization with thousands of years of cultures, and you know, it's and then now the cancel culture. I mean, these people, they chant from the river to the sea. They don't even know which river and
Right.
which sea. I mean, it's like you don't even know where Palestine is. You know, it's unbelievable.
Oh,
And you know, my father used to tell me, you know, they're always going to find out a cure for diseases. They will never find a cure for ignorant people. It's, you know, even you go education. Yeah, look at the education people get today in colleges.
None.
It's crazy.
I mean, it makes them stupider.
Right.
But they certainly don't learn.
brainwash. It's
They
not
certainly
education.
don't. I mean, I was a history major, and if I was king and took over the education system, I would make everybody take a course. I don't know what I would call it, but it would be something like, you are here. You know, on a map, when you're trying to find your way around a park or something, you are here, so you know exactly where you are in the big picture. That's what they don't have. They don't know, like, how old the Earth is. They don't know, like, how many people on Earth. They have no perspective
They have
of
no clue.
where did I come from? How old is history? They would be shocked, I think, at all these things. And it's very important to know, because they have no perspective. This is why they're able to have that attitude like, boy, people 500 years ago really should have known better. Columbus was not politically correct, yet nobody was then. And you wouldn't have been either,
Right.
you asshole, if
Yes.
you lived then. As if you're Nostradamus. And in 1492, you'd be like, taking slaves is wrong. It wasn't wrong to anybody, including people of color in other parts of the world. And, you know, I was just reading about, was it the Mayans or the Incans? It was in yesterday's New York Times. Chopping the heads off of children as was part of a religious sacrifice. I mean, come on, man.
It's crazy.
I mean, humans we grow up in stages, just like we do as individuals.
Right. But it's part of our, you know, it's like you have to acknowledge our, you know, culture. And also America was such a different country from the rest of the world because it was a melting pot of different cultures, you know? That is the beauty about America. When you grow up in a country like Italy or any place in Europe or around the world, you're pretty much exposed to your culture. And most of the time, they tell you your culture is the best. You invented this, you created this. You know, it's like they pump up.
Why did you come to America?
I came to America because it was I was very fortunate to travel the world with my parents. My parents loved to travel the world. So since I was like 4 or 5 years old, we went everywhere, all over Africa.
Because your father
Asia.
worked in the Foreign Service or something?
No, my father was a top mechanical engineer.
Oh.
And he was one of the first men to create assembly line.
Oh.
So it was very, very successful.
Like Fiat?
Well, you know, the Fiat, they were, you know,
Was
some
that,
of Fiat.
was that Milan?
Yes. No, Fiat is in Torino.
Torino, right.
Torino. But my father built, some of the top assembly line for Whirlpool, for Boeing.
So you saw
for,
America when you were a kid with your parents,
Yes,
and you
and
just liked it and wanted to move here?
let me tell you something. I've been around the world. By the time I was 13, I was already been around in many, many places around the world. And I never felt home in Italy. I was always felt, I feel like a fish out of the water in my country.
Yeah.
I think the mentality, the Italian mentality is kind of like it's narrow. It's like they still live on a Roman Empire. And it's like, excuse me, what have you done 2,000 years from from that time until now?
It's
It's like those bridges, those monuments, those buildings, they're still there and they're still standing. You build roads and bridges, then at the inauguration day, they collapse. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like, what have you done now?
It's amazing the way the forces that collapsed the Roman Empire are very similar to like what's happening today, because like migration around the world is always such a key factor
You
in
nail it.
And I'm not saying, first of all, the barbarians who took over the Roman Empire weren't barbarians. They were just different people. They saw
Right.
any more than the people who are coming to this country. They're not barbarians either. But when people are on the move, I mean, the Roman Empire collapsed because the Huns, who were from north of Beijing, they were from north of China, and they fought with the Han dynasty. And then they migrated westward, and then they put pressure on tribes that they were pushing out in Eastern Europe, the Visigoths and the Goths. And
Yes.
okay, and then they moved into the Roman Empire. So
Yeah.
it was like when people are moving, it just puts pressure on other people's, and everything changes. And immigration is probably the biggest issue in this election.
Yeah.
And in European elections. I mean, Meloni in your country.
Yes.
That's how she got to be the prime minister, and she's the only one in the G7 who's popular now, because she has a reputation as being tough on immigration and keeping Italy, Italy. And when you say that in certain quarters, that be, oh, that's racist. It
No.
doesn't have to be. It can be. There can be racist elements in it. But other people, like the majority of people, I think, in some poll in this country said, there are times I just don't feel like I'm at home in my own country. They couldn't keep out the people who wanted to be there. I mean, that's what a lot of people would say is going on in this country right now. We seem unable to keep out anyone, and because the people who are coming through the border now are not just from Central America.
Everywhere.
They're from China, and like lots of people are saying, oh, you can get in through there. And I just feel like this is going to be Biden's undoing.
Yeah. And being, America, you have a lot of enemy. So you really want to take care of your border because,
Of course.
it's like, ISIS and,
They caught 8 ISIS guys last week.
yeah,
There was
exactly. And, it's like, I guarantee you Hamas, they have a lot of cells in the United States and, and as well as Hezbollah. So, it's like you have to, listen, if somebody wants to come in your house, it should come from the front door.
Right.
Right? Not from breaking the rear window, okay? Because when somebody break your window, it's because it doesn't have good intention. I came here legally. So, many times people, they go like, okay, Fabio, you're an immigrant, you came here, but I came here legally. I went through the system and I became an American citizen. It's almost like you go to the bank, right? And you're waiting for an hour and a half at the bank and you have to go and run your errands and you're waiting and all of a sudden 30 people, they come in and they pass in front of the line.
Boy, I bet you there's a lot of chicks who were masturbating to your photos on the cover of those books who are listening to this going, wow, that guy can talk too.
Well, I'm not just a pretty face.
No. But when women masturbate, I feel like it's very different than we do. And I mean, we're
very visual.
Exactly.
You're very visual. Women, they're not that visual.
Right. Right.
That's why even, porn, with men, it's
it's porn.
because we're very visual. We see girls, working out at the gym or that.
Right.
We already,
Women's porn is almost a contradiction in terms. It's almost the opposite of what porn is or what classic porn is.
Yes.
And
it's always the exception to the rule.
And lesbian porn is just I mean, how do you know when you're done?
Yeah.
There's no finale to this show, you know?
Yeah.
Talk about third act problems. Club Random is brought to you by the audio marketing gurus at Radioactive Media. Summer is here and a lot of businesses traditionally slow way down. This year, why not get a leg up on your competitors while they're out on vacation and explore a new marketing angle by utilizing the power of audio by partnering with shows like mine? You'll be fishing in a new, well-stocked pond for your customers. The team at Radioactive Media will make sure your message will stand out and lure new customers your way using the power nationally on podcasts, terrestrial, satellite, and streaming radio. Radioactive Media has been partnering with Club Random since the beginning, and they can create a customizable campaign for your company's needs so you can cast that net wider to attract new, qualified customers. Radioactive Media believes so much in the power of audio marketing, they put their money where their mouths are by using it themselves, right here, right now. You'll be hooked once you experience the power of audio marketing, utilizing the strength of text messaging, which can generate an ROI as high as 7 to 1. Radioactive Media has an exclusive deal to promote your product or service on Club Random with me and save up to 50%. Just lock in your first campaign this year. To find out all the details and receive a few Club Random goodies thrown in, contact Radioactive Media. Put an end to the summertime blues and go to radioactivemedia.com or text the word RANDOM to 511-511. Discover how audio marketing can surpass your current strategies with new and innovative ways that sound better. Go to radioactivemedia.com or text RANDOM to 511-511. Text RANDOM to 511-511 today to save up to 50%. Terms, conditions, message, and data rates may apply. Hey, it's summer and July 4th is right around the corner, and we know what that means. Let me tell you, if there's a surefire way to wake up feeling fresh after a night of drinking, it's with Z-Biotics. Z-Biotics is the answer we've all been looking for. Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by a PhD scientist to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Begging the question, how much were these scientists drinking? Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Z-Biotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. It's designed to work like your liver, but in your gut, where you need it most. Just remember to drink Z-Biotics before drinking alcohol, drink responsibly, and get a good night's sleep to feel your best the next day. Go to zbiotics.com/random to get 15% off your first order when you use random at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription using my code, so you can stay prepared no matter the time or occasion. Z-Biotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/random and use the code RANDOM at checkout for 15% off. Thank you, Z-Biotics, for sponsoring this episode. You know, I'm a big health of the planet guy, and this summer the main forecast everywhere, all over the world, is hot as balls. What does that mean? Extra body odor everywhere. But not for you. No, sir, because Mando is here to prevent that. You hear that, you Uber drivers, cab drivers, and everybody everywhere who might stink? Get Mando now and take the guesswork out of not stinking. Mando whole body deodorant will keep you fresh all summer. Let me bullet point the Mando experience. You can put it on your whole body, yes, your whole body, and anything anywhere or near you that might stink. I even put it on my dog, Chico. And it's long-lasting. The solid stick and invisible cream are proven to control odor for 72 hours. Forget to apply deodorant or don't want to get into the shower at the gross gym? Keep the acidified deodorant wipes in the car or your gym bag on the go to freshen up. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. Luckily, I have a discount code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code RANDOM at shopmando.com, SHOPMANDO.com. Hey, I'll be at the Orpheum Theater in Minneapolis, Minnesota on July 13th, on the 14th at the Riverside Theater in Milwaukee, July 26th, the MGM Music Hall at Fenway, Boston, Massachusetts, July 27th at the Toyota Oakdale Theater in Wallingford, Connecticut. Come out and see me and laugh your ass off. So what's your life like every day? I'm very curious.
I love life.
You
I
get up.
learned-
I know. I can see that. You get
you
up in the
know,
morning.
In life, you have to
Early?
learn balance. No, I don't like early morning.
I don't either.
Oh my God, I hate early morning.
What time
I'm
do you
like,
get up normally?
About 10:30, 11.
Me too.
I'm telling you, it's like
I'm telling you, we're brothers from another mother.
soon. I mean, when the sun is that high in the morning, I'm just like a vampire. Like it's.
Right.
I don't even know how they.
Well, there's only so many hours in the day, and I like the night. I mean,
Yes.
one reason I created this atmosphere for this show is because I feel it's the only podcast that has a nighttime feel.
Yes.
Like you don't see any cameras. It's just you and I sitting in my little
Talking,
den of
right.
iniquity, smoking, drinking. I mean, some people are just night people. I've always been a night. My father worked nights, and everything was just always on a late clock. And I'm sorry, but just like a lot more fun things happen at night.
At night.
When
You're right.
when you're adult. Not when
Yes.
you're 5. I get it. I want more time to be in dirt, but I don't have that issue anymore. I want more time to be in bars, or maybe not bars, but out restaurants,
Right, it's-
people. I mean,
And
I
I tell
know-
you, there's some morning people. They can. I mean, they love the morning. Oh, it's great. I all of a sudden,
I never got morning sex.
no, I can't stand morning. I mean,
What about morning sex?
morning what?
Morning sex, not between us. I mean, just
Oh,
in
no,
general.
Well, well, depends. If you have.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it, but it's like, first of all, I feel disgusting when I first wake up. I mean, even when I see it in a movie, when people wake up and kiss each other, I'm like, ugh, how can you kiss someone after 8 hours of sleep? I mean, but some people are not bothered by things like that. It bothers me a lot, that like I'm fastidious that way. So like the idea that you could wake up after all that sleep and then just start like kissing, that's gross. And you're kind of who knows what's in your eyes. it's just it's better at night.
Listen, many time in the morning, especially when you're younger, you get up with a boner, and then
You
you
get
have to
up
take
with a
care
boner.
of it.
Yes, you do.
It's always, when
I-
up to a
I-
certain age.
I think that was Bing Crosby's theme song. You get up with a boner. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, I still get up with a boner sometimes, but I don't have to put it in someone. It's the morning. Can we just like have coffee and
Yes, the best time is after coffee and some breakfast.
It's not going anywhere.
Right.
But I mean, I've also, I must say, in the last, I would say 5 years especially, really appreciate, since I started doing like a kind of a fast a couple of times a year, and you get used to like not eating for like a stretch of hours, that most of my life I just like went by the normal thing of 3 meals a day, and like, no, I don't have to. 2's fine. And I really like the time of the day before I eat because I just have more energy. Food makes you.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
It's like, you want a good. Normally, I always say like a brunch, because by the time I get up, I have my breakfast, and then some eggs, omelet, and so on.
Right.
So I do my brunch every time, and then I don't eat until the evening. But yes, of course, it's like every time you eat, you get more energy.
You get less.
Huh?
You get less. When they eat, you
I get more.
from eating?
Yes.
Oh, see, there we're opposite.
Yeah.
No, to me, I'm like a wolf. I eat and I want to sleep at the mouth of the cave. It's like, because the body, most of the body's energy is taken with digestion. When you have to digest something, that's like, I never want to like fuck after eat.
You know what?
It's fuck and then eat. It makes so much more sense. I'm
It's
trying
so funny because in Italy they used to tell me that, or you eat and then and I was like, no, I can eat and then go work out, or I can eat and
Really?
then have big time
Well,
sucks.
you are truly Fabio.
Yeah,
No, really, you are
because
truly
like, I mean, it's a great,
No,
to
this
burn
is-
calorie. I mean, now you got, you fill up your tank and you're ready to go.
but you fill up your tank, but most people get logy after food. Most people get lethargic. Most people get sleepy. Again, because
Right, because it's
you're
digestion. Yeah,
digesting.
because most of the blood
your
goes in your
body
stomach.
just wants you to sit down and do nothing while it does its job. I mean, using my first meal. It's a kind of a shake, but it's heavy with a lot of stuff in it, and like I can guarantee a half hour after I drink that, I will not be able to stay awake for just 15 minutes, but like it will just kill me. My body's just saying, you can't even be conscious now. We are just working on this now. We are working on this thing you just ate, and then we'll wake you up when we're done with that. But we can't do two things at once. So if you can do all these things right after you eat, work out,
Yeah,
that's not even, you're not even supposed to do that.
Doesn't it? I've been doing it all my life and it doesn't even bother me.
Never told you as a kid you're not supposed to go back swimming in the ocean?
All the time. And I used to be very stubborn. I wanted to prove the point. I used to jump right in the ocean.
Really?
Oh, I used to drive my parents crazy.
And it never killed you?
Never.
Never? You're still alive. That's awesome. So, not to get too personal, but that's why you're here.
Yeah, I mean, it's
No,
and tell you, the world is beautiful because it's colorful, and there is no such a, everything, there is exception to the rules, in everything.
Apropos of what are you saying that?
Well, there is always exception. I mean, it's
To
like
what? What are we talking about? Exception
to
to what?
on everything.
To what, though? I mean, why are you making this point? What's the exception? What's the rule that we have to make a thing about the exception?
No, but it's like you were saying before. People eat and then they can work out.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? No, absolutely.
It's different,
Everybody's so different, especially about very personal things like that. That's why, guys like us, I mean, we can sit here and chortle about, oh, we never got married, so we don't have the divorce and all the horrible things that we think that happen with marriages. And awful things do happen with marriages, but also great things happen with marriages.
It's
it's
true.
just based on who you are and your
Exactly.
nature and like what works for you. People say, why are you anti-marriage? And I always say, I'm just anti-marriage for me.
Right.
I get it that it works for you.
Right. There's some people they're meant to be married, and there's some people that can be alone. There's a lot of people that can be alone.
J-Lo. That's all. I mean, I'm not picking on her, but that was all in the. I saw Dr. Drew. I texted him yesterday. I was kidding him about it, but he was on TMZ last night, and because he had to be interviewed about J-Lo and Ben breaking up, and like that was his thing. Like some people cannot be alone. Guys too. I've known guys like that.
Oh, a lot of guys.
Yes, guys who, oh my God, they were unhappily married for 20 years. I know guys like this. And they would always be bitching, and every joke was about how horrible the marriage.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
it was like, I was laughing at the jokes, but I would always be thinking, oh, but for you, that joke comes out of real pain. But okay, if we're all laughing at it, I'll laugh at it too. But it made me think, I'm glad I'm not married.
Yeah.
So they're married for like 20 years, and they just can't get the courage to break off. They want to get out of it, but they've got kids, the roots run deep, all that kind of stuff. Money sometimes but they're miserable every day. And all the jokes are about how they never get laid and they never get blown. And they just are driven to a point where they cannot take it for one more fucking second, and they do it. They get away. And then they fucking marry the first girl who gives them a hand job. They break right back into prison.
It's true. It's almost like, every single guy wants to marry an nymphomaniac, and after a few years, like the nympho live, and you got the maniac. And the maniac stay, it's like, but listen, some people, they're meant to be married. They find that really special person, that bondage, and some other people, they're just, people like me and you, we are happy people. We are happy to be by ourselves. I mean, number one,
Happy,
in life,
smiley people.
you have to be happy. Okay.
Well, you try.
But the problem is with a lot of people, they always try, men and women, they always try, oh, I'm going to be happy only if I find the other person. No, you have to be happy first. To be happy first,
Exactly.
then you have to find somebody else who's also very content with their life, and then maybe we can share something. But if you're miserable and and you got another person, you're only going to bring the person down. Or if you're happy and you marry somebody who's miserable, there's nothing you can do. She's going to bring you down.
Right. Well, you know what people usually use to make up for being happy? Liquor and drugs. It's so sad. 8:18, kids. Well, I'm glad you're happy.
No, it's like
I mean,
listen,
you
if you keep your life, I always trying to keep my life simple. Not you can complicate your life as much as you want.
Correct.
Complicate your life, then you're going to pay the consequences. If you keep your life simple, it's much easier to have a happier life.
Okay, so put some meat on those bones. What do you mean by keeping your life simple? What's keeping it
simple?
Not getting married?
See what you really
No, but that's a
love.
big part of simple.
Yeah.
It's like once you not again, and again, I'm not knocking marriage because I know people who'd be miserable without their spouse, but it does immediately life is complicated because first of all, you've invited the government, the legal system into your life.
Yeah.
You are now in a relationship, not just with your partner, but with the legal system of the United States.
Right.
So if shit goes sideways, the legal system gets involved. That was always a very big red flag for me.
Yeah, but that's is in this country. That's is in the United States. In a lot of places on earth, other country is not as that complicated.
What do you mean?
But in the United States, everybody knows. I mean,
You mean the divorce? It's easier to get divorced and stuff in other countries?
Yeah, it's and also it's like another country. A lot of country they don't believe in suing each other.
Well,
They're like in this country. I mean, it's like one of the first they tell you is like prepare to have a lawyer in your pocket because you need a lawyer for.
in Islamic countries, I mean, I'm quoting this from fairly recent times. Maybe this has changed, so if it has, don't hate me on that. But certainly in this century, and I think still in many places, all that has to happen is the man has to say, I divorce thee, I divorce thee, I divorce thee 3 times. I'm not kidding about that.
Oh, no. Yeah,
That's, have you heard? That's like a law.
Yeah.
I think that's probably still what happins in Saudi Arabia.
And they can have as many women they want.
That's a lot easier than Jacoby and Myers.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
and getting Saul Weinstein involved in your life.
Yeah.
And having his bills come and I see why guys go apeshit. I mean, I've seen this with so many guys who they go through the divorce, they think, they set themselves up for life with the perfect wife, and not only do they now have to pay these exorbitant legal fees of their own, they have to pay her lawyer. They have to pay the guy who's fucking them in the ass. I can see why this drives them to the brink, and I've seen them.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it's the kind of thing that can make you physically, and I think it has made people physically sick.
Yeah.
That's it. Relationships are wonderful, but they can actually, if they go badly, can make you physically sick. Or in Johnny Depp's case, just lose the tip of the finger.
I know, and it's like you've been around. How many really people you meet? They're extremely happy with the marriage. I mean, the majority they're not happily married. I mean, everybody's miserable. It's like.
No, I know. I do this bit in my act, so I don't want to pretend that it's not a joke. But I always say when people ask me why I don't get married, I say because when you ask people about a marriage, what comes out of their mouth, the first thing is always some variation of, well, it's tough, it's a lot of work. It's never yippee, and that is another. These are just red flags. And have you ever been engaged? Because I was engaged. Never even got that far.
No.
When I was 29, I was engaged, bought a ring. I remember in New York City. I was living out here, but we went back to New York because the 47th Street Diamond District, you know, on
I
West
live in New
Side.
York, yeah.
Okay. So, you know, that whole block, it's immortalized in the movie Marathon Man. Did you ever see Marathon Man?
Yes.
Laurence Olivier, Dustin Hoffman,
Yeah.
classic, and that's the end scene. And every shop is a diamond district, and you can buy just the chip, you know, and I did. I remember it was $1,250
Uh,
to get just a little diamond, and then you'd put it on a ring, but you saved a lot of money doing it that way.
right.
So, you know, and, you know, then we lived together, and it was just, I used to call it, it was a real Italian movie. It was duck and fuck. You know, we would fuck a lot, and then there would be fights, and, you know, it just, there is a level of drama that you will put up with, or at least I would put up with at that age, that I guess I just thought was normal, that I would never put up with today, ever. Like I just don't have, I just wouldn't allow
You don't have
drama.
time and energy, and also now at our age, we set in our ways. I mean, you know,
And what I think we prize, at least for myself, is two things: comfort and acceptance. That were comfort and acceptance were not number 1 and 2 on the charts when I was 25. Maybe they should have been, but you're different, and you have different goals, and you have different feelings, and you just can put up with more. I mean, a lot of what's great about aging is like weeding out things that you never liked to begin with, and you don't have to put up with anymore.
you get wiser.
Wiser,
So you
and more able to just eliminate what you don't want, the clutter in your life,
yes,
or the things you never wanted to do,
right.
like Christmas. You know, I did Christmas forever, and now I don't. Like, I don't hate it. It's just like I'm not doing anything for it. I'm not buying you anything. I'm not going anywhere.
right.
I don't have to get a tree. I do. I mean, it's the same tree every year. It's not real. It's lovely. I love a Christmas tree. I love Christmas.
Yeah, you
Don't
know,
make me do anything.
and plus, you know, freedom is a beautiful thing, and be able to, you know, sometime ago go like, oh, you know, let's make plans. What plans? I don't even know. When I get up, I don't
Right.
even know what I'm gonna do.
Right.
You know, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. What I'm gonna tell you? Let's do this. I
Right.
don't even know what I'm gonna do. So when I wake up, I want to do whatever I want to do.
That's exactly how, that's again exactly how I feel. Like I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it.
Right, and
That's a tough thing to do in a relationship.
Exactly.
I'm of the opinion that the word consider is the most important part of a real relationship, because the word considerate comes from consider. You just have to consider what the other person is doing, almost always, especially if you live with them.
Right.
You don't have to like do something about it all the time, but you just can't like live your life without thinking about what another person is doing at this moment. And that I think most of the stress in my life came from when I was in a relationship, and I had that to. It just doesn't suit me. I'm a lone wolf.
I'm the same way.
Yeah,
You know what the other word is? Compromise. I hate that word. As a matter of fact, I cut them off from my vocabulary. There's no compromise. I mean, what I want to do, I want to do. It's like, you know, that's the way it is. You know,
Right.
you know, compromise. Why do I have Why do I have to compromise?
I had the Alan Ritchson. You know who he is? He plays Reacher.
Yes, yes,
He's
yes.
got a very big career going on. He was just in that big movie.
Yeah, he was in
Shoot 'em
the movie with Bruce Willis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's doing great. And he was here, and he was telling me, and I love Reacher, and he was, by the way, you could play Reacher's dad. That'd be a great part for you. Oh, see, I'm always helping people's careers here.
Uh-huh.
You'd be perfect, because he's big. You know, that's the whole thing. There's 1,000 Sasquatch jokes about him in the show. But like he was telling me, he's like, yeah, wherever I'm on location, my wife and my kids come with me. He said, I'm a lone wolf. I'm like, lone wolf? I'm a lone wolf.
Yeah.
Your wife and kids come with you.
Right,
That's
that's
not a lone wolf.
Right.
I mean, it's cool. I'm glad you like it. But I mean, this is a lone wolf. And it's actually hard to stay single, especially if you are successful your whole life. I mean, you have to really work at it. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, somebody once shouted at me when I was on stage, "How are you not married?" I said vigilance. You know?
You know, sometimes people they have, society they have they categorize. It's like you get to a certain age, and
Right.
you have to get married. Women, you're getting older, your clock is ticking. You have to have kids, and
Right.
it's like there is no real rules in life. I mean, it's like there are some rules that society put,
Well,
but you don't have to follow.
we're lucky because we live in a place where there are no rules.
Yeah.
That's why we love America with all its flaws, or at least I do.
Oh, it's the best country in the world.
Even with all the shit.
Yes.
There's a reason why they're trying to get here. The reason why our problem isn't keeping people in.
Yeah.
We're not building a wall to
Right.
keep
It's such a
them,
bad kind. Sometimes people hear on TV like, "Oh, America's so horrible."
Right.
So, and it's like, what the
this-
fuck? Everybody wants to come in this country
it's
because
not
it's
like-
so horrible.
It's not like our diplomats are calling up the dude from Tajikistan and saying, "Listen, we both got the same problem. Why don't we get together just informally, have a dinner, kind of spitball it, see what we can do about this?" Because I know people are just flooding into Tajikistan. And if we could just get your point of view, sometimes fresh eyes on a problem would really help. It's like, no, and look, Europe has the same issues. I mean, people want to get to, I mean, what I find cheeky, if I may,
Yes.
about some of the immigrants who come into places, all of them, but especially Europe. This is more, our immigration is mostly Latin American, which is a culture which really does want to melt and is not that distant from us to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Spanish, English, they're not that hard to learn.
Right.
Each other. Okay, immigration to Western Europe a lot of it is Muslim. It's from
It's horrible.
North Africa. Well, let's wait till we get to the end of this. We jumped right to it's horrible. Okay, the people are not horrible.
No.
The people aren't horrible. The ideology.
The ideology.
And it's very different, and some of them are very open about talking about a Europe in the future that is the civilization they came from. That's what I find cheeky. You're leaving this civilization, which is very different than Western Europe. Very different than Christian/atheistic West, whatever it is, secular, Enlightenment Western Europe. Okay.
Right.
And then you're leaving the place that's very different, but then you want to come to this place and make it like the place you left.
Exactly.
I mean, if 51% of any Western European country was Muslim, they would be under some form of Sharia law.
Yes.
I love my moderate Muslim friends. Moderate Muslims are great, but there's not that many.
I'm with you in that. It's like
who ever win.
Yeah.
The more fundamentalists win.
Right.
That is the challenge Islam has.
They want to come in your country, and they live a country that were actually kept in like animal in the cages, because in their country, I mean, they were miserable, and then they go to another country where actually they feel all of a sudden freedom, and they have some kind of happiness, and all of a sudden they want to turn that country into the country like the one they came from.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's cheeky.
Right.
It's very cheeky to do that. It's one thing to come here and say, hey, we were from this other country where things are not good. We don't really have a lot of freedom. We don't feel good about life there. We don't feel like we have a future and our children, blah, blah, blah. So you're a shining city on a hill. We'd like to come here and we'd like to be part of that. And thank you for having us. And we'll you know what we're going to do? We're going to contribute mightily. And that's what immigrants in this country have mostly done, contribute mightily, because they wanted to be part of it.
Right.
There's another thing to say, we're going to come over here, and then, you know what would be great if we had a Sharia law, because that works so well in the old country. This is the issue that Islam at some point is going to have to deal with. it is a supremacist religion. I mean, all religions
Yes.
are to a degree. If you're telling everybody in the world, our guy is the guy, you kind of have
And they
to
have no
believe.
tolerance for anybody
Right,
else.
but there are degrees of that, and they do not have they don't have as much tolerance, not nearly, and it's more fundamentalist. They believe the holy book in a way
Yeah.
Christians, because it's an older religion, really don't. They don't. The Bible says crazy shit too, but nobody takes it seriously. But they
Right.
do take
They take it very seriously.
very seriously.
That's why
And
they've
they've
been
shown it.
beheading people from the time of Muhammad all the way to the modern day, and nothing has changed. And when also Europe was invaded, um, back I think it was in 1400 from Turkish and the Arabs. I mean, Europe
Well, it
was.
was invaded way before that.
No, but I'm saying, it's like then the European, they kicked them out, and the Muslims said, we will be back.
Oh, they were. They were at the gates of Vienna in 1529.
Yeah.
And also in 1678. Did not get past, but Vienna is the heart, not the heart, but close to the heart of Europe. I mean, and I've been in Vienna. I was there in the summer of 2010. And at least in the summer, like I would say at least half the women on the streets were in a complete black chatter.
Totally, totally. It's all over Europe. I can tell you, a friend of mine is a federal judge in Italy, and he just retired because he told me, Fabio, I mean, I cannot believe where our country is today. And I said, why? What's happening? He goes like, number one, Italian citizen, they are fifth-class citizen, not even second class. They're fifth-class citizen.
Meaning?
Meaning, then everything, the government supply everything to the immigrant. Everything's for free for the immigrant. The pension plan is pretty much gone. You have old people, 89 years old, they go and collect their pension plan. The government says, go home because we have no money. But in the meantime, they give free phone, free everything, free
I mean, this
home.
this is a similar complaint we hear in America.
But but this has been going for many, many, many years in Europe. And they're to the point where, like, my friend who's a federal judge in Italy said, I can't take this anymore and I'm going to retire. I mean, our police don't want anything to do. In the middle of major city, you will have 40, 50 people from Arab country, from Africa. This is a major, during the day, major square. They get around 40, 50 guys, they get 5 or 6 women, and they rape them right there on the street. The police can be 10, 15 feet away, and the police don't want anything to do, because if they get into confrontation, then, if they beat up these people, they're going to be racist, and so on. And my friend told me it got to a point where law do not apply to these people, all the immigrant. They don't. They can do whatever they want. Their jail system is full, so these people, even if they commit crime, they get arrested, they get released the next day. So they commit more crime, they get arrested, they get released the next day. I mean, it's like that constantly every day. You turn the TV on, it's constantly, a lot of gypsy now, they are living in Italy. The women, the gypsy women, they go on buses and metro. They put they stack a pillow under their, coat. And then they go and start doing, wallet and purse and, stealing money.
What's the pillow for?
They pretend to be pregnant.
Okay.
Because in Italy, there is a law, and a cop cannot touch a pregnant woman. So they put some TV show, put some camera on a metro, and they caught on video all these women, pregnant women, gypsy, stealing money left and right. So they call the police. So the police wait at the stop. When the metro stopped, they went in and to talk to these women and try to arrest these women. And these women, they're hitting the cops, they're spitting on the cops, they're calling the cops' name, and the cops, there's nothing they can do, because these women pretend, even if they pretend to be pregnant women, because they're not, the cops, there's nothing they can do. And these people, they get away with murder every day. I
Yeah,
mean,
I think sometimes people in this country don't understand that crazy woke shit also happens in other countries.
oh,
You know, I feel like you could do a whole show
um,
about crazy woke shit in other countries because,
oh,
yeah,
trust me, Italy, France,
England, I've read.
England, Germany. I mean, it's
I
like,
remember reading one about, and it was England, and the kids, with the ones who are so afraid of everything and need a trigger warning for everything that's going to upset them. They were someplace wouldn't allow clapping anymore for a show because the noise, the kids with the ASMR where they have to have soothing voices because everything causes anxiety, clapping. So like when, but what about the performer, and they're just jazz hands, just do this if you liked it. I mean, and you think, this has got to be an Onion story. This can't be real.
I tell you, you should do. I can put you in contact. You can do some stuff in in Italy. Stuff of the stuff happening in Italy is unbelievable. I mean, one of the cases, three people from Africa, they broke into a house. They put an older man and the wife. They tied him up in the chair. They beat him up for hours because they were looking for cash and jewelry. The people, they didn't have no cash and no jewelry in the house. So they beat him up because they thought these people had cash and jewelry in the house. So then they start looking from room to room to room in the house if these people have cash and jewelry. And, this couple, they had a Doberman. And the Doberman was in one of the room. So when the three guys opened the door, the Doberman came out and beat him all three, right? They ran to the police. And the police went, and you know what they did? They find still the bloody couple still tied up down to the chair. You know what they did? They arrest the dog.
Well, that's the moral I take from that story. Dobermans are racist.
This is like,
Um,
this is like,
but again, we're not objecting to this because they're Africans. We love
No.
Africans. We're objecting it because they're robbers.
exactly.
And of course, if you let too many people in the country with no plan for how they are going to live, of course, some of them are going to turn to crime. They want to
course.
eat. They have to,
Yeah.
and they want to survive.
Right.
And of course, look, for eons in this country, that has been a way you advanced. Scarface came over on the Mariel boat lift in 1980 from Cuba. And how did he get ahead? Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah.
And the mafia. I mean, that's how you get ahead when you're an immigrant in this country and you feel like it's almost your entitlement because the country's treating you so badly. It's like, you know what, then fuck you. I'll get into crime and I'll beat you at your own game. And they often did. The Irish did it too. And the Jews, Bugsy Siegel and Meyer Lansky, and every ethnic group that's treated. I mean, there's mafias of every Mexican mafias and Chinese.
Excuse me,
and
we invented this.
Right, I'm saying it's I know. I said the Godfather, and I mean, The Godfather is a great movie partly because it's so understandable, especially in Godfather 2. When you see him coming to America and why he does what he does. That's the genius of great filmmaking, I think, is we understand why he is who he is. And he's not a bad person. He does bad things, but he's not a bad person. And
Plus, they get a little help from the Vatican.
Well, that's Godfather 3.
That's another story.
What are you saying about the Vatican?
Oh, the Vatican is totally,
Were you raised Catholic?
Yes, I was.
Are you still?
No. It's like,
How old were you when you threw it away?
8 years old.
8?
My parents
you
said,
beat me.
you're an angel up to 8 years old. Then you did your first communion, and the next morning you wake up and you were like,
I remember First Communion.
yeah.
I remember training for it, being traumatized by it, by the
Yes.
training. We had to go after school for months
Yeah.
to learn to this one day ceremony that was like, okay, you walk to the head of the thing and the old pervert fucking taps you on the head or sticks something on your tongue or God knows what the fuck it was. I was once so like traumatized by this thought of going to catechism training that I rammed my head into something at home to get out of going. So I had a bloody head.
Oh my God.
I know.
No, I was like, I was really good until I was 8 years old, and then I had the first communion, and then the next day I turned like into the Antichrist. The next day,
Why?
my parents, they go like, "What happened to you?" And I'm
Well,
like, for 3 years, because my parents, they sent me to school at 5 years old. So in case I lost 1 year, I would be normally go to school at 6.
Really? 6?
Yes,
6? That's
6
pretty
years.
late.
6 years old.
In Italy, you don't go to school till you're 6?
Well, you go kindergarten first, and then you go at 6 years old, you go to school.
I think 6 we were I think we were in 2nd grade by then.
It's
But,
we have
Italy's different.
5 years, then 3 years, and then 5 other years of like high school, and then you go to college. So you do 13 years. That's kindergarten is
So why do you think you never felt at home in Italy? What was it about Italy? I know they're mama's boys.
Yeah.
60 Minutes once did a story about all the grown-up Italian men who live with their mothers.
Mamoni. Yep. It's I'm telling you,
What's that about?
Mamoni is like, it's like, yeah, you live with your mom, and they put everything.
Why?
Including, it's the mentality, it's the old mentality. They get raised, and the mother spoiled them.
I thought they were such macho,
Yeah, but
Lotharios pinching asses.
And not everyone, But
so they pinch ass and then they go home to their mother.
I know, but it's like a lot of this guy. The mother did everything for them, everything, cooks for them, that worship them, and it's like, so it's like, even when they get married or they find a girl,
we have people like that in America who like to enjoy the generosity of their mother's cooking and their mother's laundry service and their mother's bed. They're called millennials.
Yes.
No, I'm joking, of course. They're called Gen Z. But but in Italy, it's like, here it's, I think, frowned upon. It's like, oh, come on, get out of the house. You're in your mother's basement, loser. But in Italy, it's not, because it's just the way of life, right?
The way of life, and they're so used to it.
And what do the women think of that? They must be, they must hate.
There was a major, confrontation and fight between the women and the mothers, because, of course, the woman wants to be the first.
Of course.
If I marry you, or if I'm your girlfriend, I should come first and not second.
And no one is ever going to do it as good as your mother. I'm talking about hand jobs, of course. No, I mean cooking.
Right.
And laundry and that. Right, it's your mother.
Right.
But I mean, Christ.
There's a time you become a man, and you cut the umbilical cord, and you go and you do your life. You know? And a lot of when I tell you, Bill, when I left Italy, all my friends say, "Are you crazy?" It's like, "Why are you leaving? You have a very comfortable life in Italy. It's like your parents are great. They have your father have a big company. You don't have to worry about for the rest of your life." I say, "I don't care. I'm leaving because I don't like the mentality. It's old mentality. I've been around the world, so I have a world mentality. I've been in America many times, and the only time I swear to you, the first time I came to the United States, I was 13 years old. And soon I got off the plane, I go like, oh my God, I feel home."
I felt that way when I came here. I was raised on the East Coast, lived in New York, grew up in New Jersey, then lived in New York when I started my career. So then I came out here, I felt like, it's not funny, we're animals. We know where home is.
You're right.
Same thing when you buy a house. Like, oh, yeah, I'm supposed to live here.
You're right. It's like, it's not because you're born in that place, you belong to that place. But you see the mentality, they were telling me, "Fabio, you're crazy. You don't even speak the language. How are you going to survive?" I'm like, that's it. I mean, language ain't gonna stop me.
Stop you? I'm sure not that you needed help getting laid.
No, but I'm saying,
but I'm sure it was, and women love American women. It's like you could have been 10 times less attractive as you are physically, and it still would have been a great asset. You still would have British accents, but especially Italian. Oh, it's just talk about a panty wettener.
Yeah, but you know, it's like a lot of people in Europe, especially, I mean, in Italy or France, they think it's like, okay, you know, it's like I don't speak English or my English is very limited. How am I going to survive? How am I going to make a living? How am I going to find a job? You know, they have that very close mentality also because you know what's the difference between European and American? Then I saw right away. In Europe, they always keep you, oh, you're not smart enough, you're stupid, you're
Right.
this, you're that. They keep you
Well,
low, right?
and also they have tests along the way that if you don't pass, like the baccalaureate in France, you take it like when I think you're 16, your future is completely decided from that moment on. You're either now going to become a tradesman or you're going to go to college and become something else. That is what, again, is great about America.
Exactly. Also because
You can always reinvent yourself.
exactly. And in America, you know, they're like, oh, you know, I think I can do this, this, and this. And America's like, okay, do it.
Exactly.
Do it. You know, show me. It's
Right.
like they give, especially the young generation, you know, they give opportunity to everybody. In Europe, in Europe, the mentality is so old, and you know, like the people on top, they're like, oh, you know, you're too young and too stupid. We're the old one, we're the wise one, and we know what's better for you. Okay, so we're gonna tell you because you're too stupid, okay, to think for your own.
Well,
we are the wise one, and we're gonna tell you. So they have.
Yeah, but we just
all
said
this-
that it was the kids who are marching for Hamas who are dumb and stupid, and that we do need the older ones
Oh yeah, well, you know, it's like
sometimes to actually do that.
Ye-
It's a mix. You need the energy of the young, but let's not pretend that they are wiser. Now, older people can do stupid things, and they certainly can do corrupt things. But in general, I would rather have my fate in the hands of somebody who's lived.
Yeah, definitely.
I
But
mean,
I'm talking about
I wouldn't want a young doctor, would
No,
you? Would you want
no.
a doctor who's 30?
no. You want an older doctor, somebody who's
Right.
wise and he did
I
a
want a
lot
doctor who's seen it
and live it.
5,000
Yes.
times.
Yes, but you know, it's not so much that. It's like anything you do over in Europe from a young age. You know, it's like they any dream you have. That's the beauty of America. Any dream you have, you can.
Yes, you can.
You can. Over there, it's like, no, we think you're smarter than everybody else. You think, you know, like they downgrade you. They make you
Right.
like, no,
No.
you can't do it. You can't. Where here is like, show me.
No, it's
That's
I
the
mean,
big difference between. So when I came to America, I was like, number one, America was back then was so far ahead of Europe in technology. I mean, I remember the first time I came to an American airport, it was like, oh my God, this was unbelievable. You know, futuristic technology. And my father was into like he was a top engineer, so I loved technology. And I remember he used to come to America also to see different kind of assembly line because you know, like my father was one of the second or third man in the world to build assembly line. The first one was Ford, is the guy who invented
yes.
conveyors. Okay, so then back then he was coming to America to see all the new stuff. You know, if there is some new stuff. But then 20 years later, I said, Dad, why you don't go anymore to America? They go in technology now. We are more advanced.
Really?
Yes, we're more advanced. Now they come to us.
Italy was more advanced than America?
In certain field, yes. In certain field, yes. Like you know,
That's not mostly where I mean America.
like let's say in electrodomestic, okay, there was a company named Zanussi, then became Philips, and it was at one point, you know, with my father's assembly line, they were making just refrigerator, 13,000 refrigerator a day. And, you know, and at that point, there was no company around the world that were making that kind of, you know, numbers every day. And this company was selling refrigerator, washing machine, dryers, you name it, all over the world. So back in beginning it was Whirlpool, but then Whirlpool came like followed back in their, they were not so advanced with their assembly line and conveyors. And I'm telling you, it's like, a lot of, and the German, the same, it's like all of a sudden, like, I mean,
Oh,
come on,
Germans are-
German engineering,
but Germany and Italy are so different. Which
But
is
you know what? It's in a lot of field, let's say, because I grew up in that, business with my father. Let's say all the wheels, all the most beautiful wheel in the world, they were made in Italy. And so the German, they were buying all the Italian wheels to put on German cars. So, and a lot of things, some stuff, they were like wings of jet fighter. They were made of section Italy in Torino, and then sold to the French and to the English Mirage. The making, the fighter jet. So there was a lot of things in Italy back then. They were like ahead of some other country. As a matter of fact, I mean, look at, why you think also the German, they bought Lamborghini, they bought, Ducati and all the.
I got a joke for you on this.
Yes.
So what's it between heaven and hell? In heaven, the Italians are the lovers,
Okay.
the Germans are the mechanics, the British are the police, the French are the cooks. In hell, the Germans are the police, the Italians are the mechanics, and the British are the lovers.
Oh, that's funny. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's even more elaborate than that. I couldn't remember it, but somebody wrote that joke a long time ago, and it was just genius. Like, it had 5 different countries involved, and it was just like, in hell, the British are the cooks. That's that's what it was. Because
That's funny.
But I was in Rome when I was 21. When I was, back the backpack Europe trip with no money and your college girlfriend. You're in love and you have no money. That says it all about life, right? Like, you go through life and it's like, boy, could you replicate that experience at this age? No. But things compensate.
I think we live probably one of the best time.
Definitely.
It's
People have no idea how lucky they are. It is not corny or conservative to say you are lucky to live in this country
yes.
and at this time with all its problems.
Yep.
I mean, there's such a cognitive dissonance between privileged people always complaining about privilege. Like the most richest, whitest people are always like, Bill, what are we going to do? And I'm like, look around. You're going to pay your $800 dinner bill for 3 people. That's what you're going to do. Things look fine from here. And yes, could shit go bad tomorrow? They absolutely could. But I'm not going to get nervous about it until it happens.
Right.
I just can't do it anymore.
No.
But
you're right. People, it's like people don't understand how lucky, especially American, they don't understand how lucky they are.
They do not.
They don't.
They do not. You know who does? The immigrants. That's why Trump is gaining with immigrants all the time. He does better and the Democrats do worse. Because immigrants do not like the relentless negativity
yes.
that is coming from the left about a country they work so hard to get to. They don't want to see it shit upon. We wanted to get, it's like imagine walking 1,000 miles or whatever it takes to get here.
Why,
and
Bill?
then,
because
this place sucks. Loser. Oh, you walked to get here. Oh, well, I guess the joke's on you. You're in shithole now. No, we came from the shithole.
Exactly. Because, immigrant, they saw that movie before. That's why they left.
Right.
So for us, it's like when we see all this policy, it's like our hair stand up and go like, you know what? This is shit. They put long time ago in our country, and we saw what happened to our country.
Do you go back to Italy a lot?
No.
Never? What?
No,
just not interested?
No.
Ever? You must have old friends, no?
They come here because they want it. You see, this country has so much to offer, and so when they come over here, they really appreciate it. Italy,
Right.
he's a shithole now. It's everything is. I'm
It's
telling
not
you,
a
it's like
shithole,
oh,
but
it is.
Well,
It
it's in the
is.
G7.
It's yeah. It's like
Well, come on. It is still in the top 10 of the world's economies. Come on.
they all left.
These
They
are
all left.
These are facts.
No,
These are
because
facts.
matter of fact, why you think? Okay, that's why a lot of people in Italy now they're going crazy because they move a lot of their company in Russia.
Really?
Yes, and
To Russia?
and
Wow.
Putin I'm talking about big companies, some of the biggest companies. Because tax. You know, the
Right.
government takes 75%. They want a 75 cents of every single dollar you made, and
Well, Italy has always had. I
yeah,
mean,
and no deduction.
They switch governments like I switch neckties. I mean, and they flirted with communism
Yeah.
in the 70s. I mean, they
Yes,
were.
I know. Trust me.
Italy was very, very close
Yes.
to being a communist country. That would have changed a lot of things. To have Italy, one of the pillars of Western
Yes.
civilization, go communist.
Yes.
The Red Brigade.
Of course.
I'm sure you remember. Was in
I
it?
lived during that
You
time.
were in the Red Brigade?
No. But you know what? They were going around a couple of times.
Oh,
you know,
I'm sure.
I was going to school. I had to dodge under the car, me and my friend, because
Really?
they were shooting.
Right. No, it was
crazy.
hairy.
And you know, the Red Brigade, they got Moro. You know, it's like one of the. And then you know that politician. Then they find chopped up in the trunk of a
Right.
car.
Yes.
I lived all that stuff.
Right.
So I remember. You know.
Well, I saw it down at Umberto's Clam House.
Where?
Well, there was a lot of mafia
Oh yeah.
in Little Italy in New
Oh,
York.
yeah,
There was. I
come on,
remember
you know.
when I lived in New York in '79. It was the picture on the front page of the Daily News of, you know, with the cigar still in his mouth and the blood pouring out on the floor of the restaurant. Was it Umberto's? It was someplace like that. It was just like, you know, a place I've been to, and we all could be at any time. And just who was it? I think it was Carmine Galante. I don't know. But the days of mafia rubouts, those were good. Well, listen.
Let me tell you, but in you know the big company, they moved to Russia. Now Putin took all this company away from the English people, from the Italian people. You know, because the Italian, you know, they can't build anything because, you know, like they get taxed so much. So the company, they went on, you know, a lot of company, the big one, they left and they opened their plant in Russia. And now they're screwed because Putin said, oh, now they're mine.
Right.
They took the company away. And it happened to the English and it happened to the French. So right now, there's no way you can do business in Italy. You can open a business, you can have a business. As a matter of fact, look at them, except Ferrari, all the very prestigious company in Italy that all got bought by the German. So Lamborghini, Ducati, I mean, you name it, okay? They all got bought by the Audi, Volkswagen, Porsche group. And they own it. So they do the engine in Germany, and they still do the bodies of the cars and wheels in Italy. But otherwise, all the rest of the stuff is long gone.
You're such an interesting guy to talk to.
Oh, thanks.
All right, I got to go back to my real job. But come back here some night.
Definitely, I would love invite me.
Even when the camera isn't on.
Definitely.
We'll just do the exact same thing.
Yes.
But you know, us.
Oh, we can go and party like the old days.
we're the only two unmarried, childless. You don't like kids either, right? Or you?
I don't mind kids from the other people. I mean, I can play with kids, but then, you know, it's like it's.
See, I can't even do that.
I know.
All right.
Club Random.
Thank you. I have my book for you.
Hey, buddy.
That was fun.
Anytime.
Okay, I'm glad I got to know.
Club Random.